Mm-hmm. Hello there, Site 42 staff, as well as those from the greater SCP Foundation community, and welcome to another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director and Head Containment Specialist here at the SCP Foundation's Site 42. And as I have been doing for nearly 7 months, the daily streak remains strong. I am here to open my door to you, the SCP Foundation staff, for somewhere between 30 minutes to 3 hours today. Today, we're going for the full 3 hours. To answer your burning questions about the inner workings of this place of our employment, mysterious and dark as it may be, the SCP Foundation. Now, whether those questions are about the anomalies we contain, the staff that contain them, the groups of interest who are trying to stop us from doing all this containing business, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview. Perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. I am here for one purpose and one purpose only: to fill you in with the creamy nougat of knowledge that will enhance your lives and probably keep you alive longer in this terrifying, deadly place that we call a place of employment. But before I begin that, a little bit of housekeeping. Dark Red, congratulations on being our very most punctual researcher of the day. Congratulations on being first chatter. Furthermore, Oswald, Color Marker System Oliver, Billy the Go-Goat, Silent Follower, Amber, Anna, Dr. Puppeteer, Alki. Everyone whom I have just named, thank you for your exceptional punctuality, making it here to chat on time, and thank you as well for being members of Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service, helping us to grow our ranks so we can win the battle against the White Names. Now, also Desk, good to see you, ready for action today. And finally, Leha, James, Luca, Colonel, and Tiger Claws. Welcome to today's stream and chat. Thank you for being punctual, and thank you for being here, just for being you today. Now, before I even get into the main event of today, Base, thank you for your 1-month member message as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. I made a tub of endless Cool Whip for Infinite Pie. Well, first of all, I'm a little bothered at you making an anomaly in the first place. That's just another thing for us to contain. We don't need the paperwork right now. We're very busy and underfunded. What are you doing? Furthermore, who said there was infinite pie? I mean, we have the infinite cakes, except if they're eaten by anomalies, then they replicate even more. And if they're not eaten, they replicate even more. So we all currently have, 1,817 cakes that need to be eaten every day by real live human beings. Otherwise, they multiply more and eventually take over the world in a doomsday crowded over the universal edges of Earth by a pileless mountain layer of cakes. I don't like that idea. Furthermore, we have infinite potato bag, infinite pizza box, and I believe there's one more infinite food anomaly, but it's not coming to mind right now. But none of them are infinite pi. Are you planning on making an infinite pi? Are we going to have another set of anomalies to deal with? You're worrying me. And you do not want a worried site director. I tell you what. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. Site 42, how can I make an SCP that you can go over? Well, intern Kernal, what you're going to have to do is, first and foremost, I can only give you so much intel, but on the SCP database, the main SkipNet homepage, you will look at this and you will see all of this glorious SCP glory in front of you. And then to the left, on the sidebar, you will see Getting Started, Guide for Newcomers, Join the Site, Contribute, Frequently Asked Questions, Universe Hub. Go here to get your starting line information on making an SCP, on joining the site, and then once it is canon to the SCP Wiki, and it survives the community vote, meaning it doesn't get deleted because it was of a low quality bar in the eyes of the community, then I will go over it gladly here on the SCP live stream explainer channel that I run here called Site 42. Furthermore, allow me, before I continue answering Q&A from the chat, to go over today's stream subject. Colored marker system Oliver. I was going to move on to my stream subject, but you have seemed to preempted my situation there with an exceptional level of generosity that I was not explaining, considering that you've been doing this for a couple days in a row now. And low-key, you too, at 2, low-key. Colored marker system Oliver and low-key are keeping a daily streak of an intense level of generosity that honestly, my heart is not prepared for. Starting this stream with a bang or something. I once again, to both of you, I profess my intense generosity, a thankfulness for your generosity. And once more, I implore you, only be doing this on a daily streak to give me a goddamn heart attack if it will not harm you and yours in the future. While we appreciate your help to the SCP Foundation cause and the way that Site 42 tries to help it out, I cannot in good conscience take such things if you are harming yourselves in the process. So please, I cannot know you and your circumstances from here. Just make sure you're okay if you're going to keep doing this. Okay. Wait. Coffee, save me. Okay, one at a time. Color marker system Oliver. Thank you for your first donation of today's stream, as well as your extreme generosity in that donation, as well as being a member of Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service and your extreme generosity. Now, what I want you to do for your generosity today is I want you to go into the Site 42 East Wing Rec Room. And there, you're going to find an indescript cardboard box, unlabeled, folded edges, looks rough, looks beat up. Obviously the perfect place to hide something. In that box, you're going to find a video game console. It is essentially the SCP book, A Hero is Born, except it's a video game console. And it's whatever game you want it to be. I want you to take the day off, and I want you to go live in whatever video game tickles your fancy today. You'll find a lot of different slots on this thing that take game systems of various makes and brands. So don't worry about that. Just you enjoy yourself for your intense generosity today. And you said in your message, boo! Well, I was in fact scared, yes. Hi, good sir. How are you today, sir? I was doing pretty good, actually. I still am. I'm not disappointed by this. I am just in shock still. But also, I had a pretty good morning. No, I've had a couple good, very good yoga days. The rehab is going really well. My foot and ankle are coming back, and I'm gaining some strength again. It's pretty good. The Foundation Fitness Initiative is in full effect, especially in the winter when it's dark here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so everything's a bit of a cold and downer. You got to do what you can to keep your energy levels up and strength and endurance. And so I've been doing well with that. It's been a good time. So I'm being watched by some entity. I'm not sure what it is. Isn't affected by it. Oh no, not that. I hate that. I hate that. Things that can't be affected by that thing are few and far between and not well. I also keep seeing Furbies around. I think it has something to do with it. Oh no. Oh no, anomalous Furbies are always the worst. The Furby centipedes haunted my nightmares for a month. I'm gonna go with my mortal enemy, the doctor's advice, because at least it has good ideas once in a while. Run. Run. That's what you do. And in fact, you can hide in the video game that I just gave you permission to use. So there you go. There you go. 2 birds, 1 stone. Thank you for your intense generosity to kick off the stream. And you, low-key. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Exceptionally generous as it is, as well as being a member. You make sure to be grabbing yourself. You know what? I just had this installed, and so not even I have got to use it yet. So consider this a privilege. But inside the gymnasium here at Site 42, you all know where the swimming pool is on the roof. You go up to the roof, the rooftop swimming pool. Now, there is what looks to be a small shed that contains the pump works for the rooftop pool. But if you can get into the shed and close the door, you'll be taken to an extra dimensional space that contains 3 important things. Number 1, a natural hot spring. Number 2, a funny little fleshy dude who speaks in a very, I could almost describe the language as bouncy and circular, if that makes sense, if a language can be bouncy and circular. And that little dude with a little bow in his singular hair is gonna give you a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, your choice. And either way, you hang out in that hot spring, you drink that beveragino, you will feel like a new person. Thank you again for your generosity today. Dr. Sherman, 0514, and possibly the mythical 0514. 0514? Wait a minute. Usually we have 12 05s canon, and then a 13th sometimes. You're saying that shit goes to 14 now? How did we even get there? 0514 want to see you. Oh, that reminds me. What do you believe is the best Subway order? The commissary just opened one. I want to know what to get you. Okay. Subway sandwiches. There are 2 ways to go about this. There's 2 ways to go about this. The cold Subway or the hot Subway. Anyways, so if you want a cold sub, then you get the Italian BMT on the Italian urban cheese bread. And then you get your standard meats and cheese. Then you get lettuce, tomato, pickle, cucumber, and you top it off with the chipotle sauce. Just a little kick. C'est magnifique. You get your meat, you get your vegetables, it's all very good. And then, if you want a hot sub that day, then it's still Italian urban cheese bread. It's the only good bread choice there. Then, you get the meatball sub, but you add pepperoni. So now you have a pepperoni meatball sub. You get the provolone and the shreddy cheddar, and you throw some oregano on that. That is the only vegetable that goes on this hot sub. And so your wonderful pizza meatball sub is where you go. That is the answer to the best Subway sandwiches you could possibly order. Meanwhile, I guess I will check in with the overseers after stream in, 2 hours and 45 minutes? James, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go ahead and grab yourself a cup of hot cocoa on your way past the commissary. Genuine question, what was the most successful attempt to destroy SCP-682 and how did it go? How did it react afterwards? Remember, SCP-682, like all anomalies, are objects, not people. They get it pronouns, not he, not she, it. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. And the most successful attempt to destroy 682 in most universes is using SCP-294 to summon a liquid that can kill SCP-682 and then pouring that onto SCP-107, which is a turtle shell that if you pour liquid on it, then it starts raining that liquid. And so that nearly destroyed SCP-682. But because there were a few cells left, it regrew and then became immune to that liquid. So now we need another liquid. It's a whole thing. Destiny, Dove, and Remnant Dev, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. On top of that, we also have seen 682 destroyed in various other universes. First of all, that thing completely destroyed SCP-682 with ease. We've redacted and expunged the data, so we can't tell how because it was too horrifying. Furthermore, there was a universe where the hateful star arrived to Earth too late and all of humanity was already extinct. And so being grumpy as it was, it just blew up SCP-682 for sport. There was also the universe where there was a virus inside of this wormhole that we went into that if you come back, it destroys your world. And 682 was dead in that universe as well. So that's about the closest we've come, and then other universes where it's happened for one way or another. G Quickify, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go ahead and grab yourself a chips and salsa on your way past the commissary. Howdy, any thoughts of cross-test between SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile, and SCP-734, an anomalous infant? I don't know, but I can certainly check if 734 is in the 682 termination logs. Control F for 734. Yes, 734 has been tested with the 682 termination test. Let's see. Tissue test record. Respective tissue sample was lowered into a vat of 734's mucus. The tissue sample was soaked in the mucus before dispersing the mucus in all directions. Due to standard safety regulations regarding SCP-734, all present personnel wore specialized hazmat suits and no casualties were sustained. The tissue sample remained unaffected, and so there was no actual test due to the lack of efficacy on the tissue sample. So yes, we have tried that. Unfortunately, it did not work. Low key. Thank you for donating 2 more times. So wouldn't we just be able to, after it's weakened, burn or destroy the remaining cells? Well, they are cells, so we have to really go hunting to find them. We didn't have field microscopes there. We weren't that prepared to have to run with torches to, like, burn it. Maybe we should have been. Maybe we should have been. Next time. And what's your thoughts on the Wandmen and SCP-682 versus the Shark Punching Center? Well, I don't believe the Shark Punching Center would fight a lizard. Therefore, I'm not particularly glad of their chances. I think 682 would decimate them, and they would fight in self-defense, but they wouldn't have that same valor and vigor because they weren't fighting a shark, so their hearts wouldn't be in it. Now, the Wandsmen are a newspaper. And so just them spreading the knowledge of the anomalous, as long as it doesn't get to the public, I'm kind of okay with it. But of course, like any news source, we have trouble with them reporting on things that we don't want. There have been some massacres that we've committed that they made a whole big hullabaloo above, and the other groups of interest got angry, and then we had to negotiate. So I am neutral to pour on them, and it would be worse if they reported to the public. Now, before I continue the Q&A and any other donos, I'm taking a small break to get to the stream subject. Thank you, guys. So, what is today's stream subject? If you look at the title of the stream and the thumbnail, I am once again asking you to become a patron of RADDAGHER. So, RADDAGHER has a new video drop a couple days ago for early access. And if you haven't seen it, which statistically you haven't, because RADDAGHER does not have that many patrons and requires more, trust me, we're talking about your favorite SCP YouTuber's favorite SCP YouTuber here. This video they have in the tank here, early access, is a writing analysis of SCP-5798, codename the Drain Snake. Now, if you're not familiar with the Drain Snake, I haven't done my job as an SCP YouTuber, because the Drain Snake is a fantastic SCP article. It is, and I'm just giving a sneak preview now because I don't want to step on RADDAGHER's video's toes. It is a very mundane article, very sparse on details because it doesn't have to be, because the SCP Foundation doesn't think much of it. And that's when it all of a sudden goes wacko mode on you, and it goes straight to hell. And oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And RADDAGHER's explanation of story structure here, of why this article works, is an excellent resource for anyone thinking of writing their own SCPs. Because if you are new to the SCP community, it is likely you are also new as a writer, at least statistically speaking. Some writers discover SCP after they're already good writers, but a lot of people see SCP before they have even worked on their writing stat as a character. And so, you want to take writing classes in general if you want to be a good SCP writer. You want to read a lot of books. You want to read classes. You want to take script analysis classes so you can break down and critically think about what you're reading and analyze the question of why did they do it like that? That way you can replicate that yourself for your own writing. And in this case, RADDAGHER breaks this down like a classic 101 script analysis class, and it does a great job explaining why the article works to people who might not understand the tropes and cliches at play that help this article function and could therefore help your future articles function. Now, if you want a sneak preview of RADDAGHER's excellent analysis skills, on RADDAGHER's channel right now for public consumption is their SCP-2721 analysis video. The question of self-inserts and are they actually bad writing, using the examples of SCP-2721, the trans Homestuck satellite, versus Dante's Inferno, one of the most heralded classics of literature known to mankind. And how they're not so different, you and I. And so, check out the 2721 video if you haven't seen it on RADDAGHER's channel. And if you like it, I highly recommend becoming a Patreon patron of RADDAGHER, because that is your favorite SCP YouTuber's favorite SCP YouTuber. Rad is the best and needs more support because more SCP artists need support. And this is the one of the day. This is the one of the day. Whew. Long live RADDAGHER, and long live in fear of RADDAGHER. Low Key, thank you for donating again. Do you think, say, role-playing online or doing creative writing is considered starting prior to finding the foundation? Oh, of course, those two things could be very useful. Role-playing online requires thinking through your writing and thoughts, also improvising if you're role-playing with other people, because then you're dealing with incoming things you don't expect and you have to roll with those punches. So that is helpful. And of course, creative writing is a great start, especially getting into a writing community like the Foundation. Now, of course, as with every skill, the question is how much did you do it? How skilled are you at it? And can you apply those skills to the next thing you want to apply them to? But yes, they can be a great start. They can be a great start. Just clearing something out here. Having a browser refresh moment, always great. Waiting for the computer to work so I can see what the hell is going on. And let's make sure that's up and running. There we go, all clear, refreshed. Site 42, I'm in an abandoned city that has prehistoric dinosaurs and animals, and I'm stuck here, I need help. Well, I am going to need more information from you, because you would be surprised how many Jurassic Parks are out there. We do have quite a lot of dinosaur anomalies, and so I'm going to need you to be more specific if you want to rescue up sent your way. Chat, I just looked at the skinny white guy, now he's screaming. Well, yes, intern Nico, and also you shouldn't be using your cell phone in the locker room showers. You know that's not okay. All of the skinny white boys in there are upset at you for it. Put your damn phone down while you're in the showers. I would yell at you too. And I am a dad-bodied white guy, but still. Why am I always late? Well, intern Truth Seeker, it might be because you don't have the subscription bell hit. Maybe you gotta hit that bell YouTube style, and therefore you will get alerted as soon as we go live. Or you might be in a scenario where you are old enough, 18 or older, to join the Site 42 Discord server and get a Discord ping whenever we go live if you join the live alert role. That could also make your life easier. Low Key, thank you for donating again. So how do you get on par with the writings like SCP-2000, Deus Ex Machina, because of how intricate it is? Or can you do kind of like a more loose deets? So first and foremost, if you have read my SCPs, you would know that I am not the intricate detail type of guy that some of these SCP authors are. Some of them are scary. And so, number one, consider you don't need to go that hard. There are also short, simple stories on the wiki as well. I am an author of such. But if you do want to get to that level, it just requires more thought and planning into your article. And so you need to start with your overarching outline, and then as you're writing, you just keep getting more and more detailed, set through, draft through draft. As articles, the way I write them, they can take 1 to 3 days, maybe a week to write tops. Articles like 2000, I imagine they take more drafts and they take more time. And so consider that as your plotting there, because the only thing that happens there is the amount of planning involved. No, he's pale and tall and mad and has blood on his hand. Help. Well, intern Nico, you scared the hell out of him, and he slipped and cut his hand on his razor while he was shaving. I would be mad too. Get your phone out of the locker room. Jeez Louise. You can write at any age, but you gotta be over 18 to post to the wiki. Frogman, you are exactly correct, Dr. Frogman, to whoever you're answering that to. While yes, you can write whatever you want at any age, to join the SCP Wiki, because it has very gratuitous violence and sexuality in certain articles, the website has to have an 18 or older rating, which is why the Site42 Discord server and the official SCP Discord server have the same membership rule. But that doesn't mean you can't start writing when you're younger. In fact, I would suggest if you are younger than the joining age, this would be the time to practice your writing the most, because the younger brain is, the more quickly it can learn and adapt to things. Neuroplasticity decreases with age. Old dogs can learn new tricks, but it's harder. And so if you go through the effort to practice your writing at a young age, to read as much as you can get your hands on, Alexander Hamilton style, you can probably become a fantastic writer by the time you're 18 and really knock it out of the park when you get started. So, if you are young, start now. And of course, follow rules about writing for an adult community like this. Be discreet and or chill on the violence and gore and stuff until you're old enough to be dealing with themes like that responsibly. And talk to your parents about writing for horror websites online. I got a Ko-Fi notification. Let me get that before I forget it. Dark Duality, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. And thank you for making the effort to go through the Ko-Fi, because that gives us a much higher percentage of the donation than YouTube takes. YouTube takes about 30% of every donation, but Ko-Fi only takes about 15%, so half the fees are no longer fees there. So I appreciate you making the effort. So I met an SCP fan out walking. He saw the patch I have on a basket. Told him about you, Site42, so he could be watching. I hope so. Well, that's really cool, meeting an SCP fan out in the wild. It's pretty rare unless you're at like a convention or a meetup or something. So very neat. And thank you for the plug. If you are the fan that Dark Duality met, nice to meet you. Coming back to the chat, refreshing. Triples, thank you for donating a Site42 membership to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team, growing the rank of the green names to help us win the battle against the white names. Thank you for your generosity. And if you got that membership, make sure to congratulate Triples and thank them for their generosity as well. Low Key, thank you for donating again. I'm thinking of making one about an Arctic dragon. Okay. You should look at other SCPs that mention Arctic anomalies, and you can use them just for a little detailing of how that's been handled in the past. And of course, don't copy and paste their stuff. Don't plagiarize it. But instead, utilize that as a jumping off point for how you'll handle yours. What number is the unicorn pinata thing? Do you know? Intern Canine, are you talking about the Child Breaker? Are you talking about SCP-953 by chance? Well, if I could type, then I would be talking about SCP-953. No, that's the polymorphic humanoid. That's the Kitsune. Why do I never remember the Child Breaker's number? 956. I was 3 digits off. Dang it. So yes, the Child Breaker. Are you talking about the Child Breaker? Quickify, thank you for donating again. Thanks for the info. It was a neat thought experiment. Time to continue working upon my own report for submission. Take care, friends. All right, well, do good work. Do good work. Make good reports. Honor the Foundation. James, thank you for donating again. Has SCP-303, codenamed the Doorman, ever been recorded or rumored to come into physical contact with any facility personnel or another SCP anomaly? Let me take a quick peek at the rounds. SCP-303, make you put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up. That's not the right 303 song. That was from like a G6. That's a different band. All right, the Doorman. Witness described the Doorman. Periodically materialized behind a door. Dematerializes. Does not allow itself to come in direct visual contact. Has never allowed any one individual to view more than 10% of its form. Materialize in orientation that leaves 10% of its body visible even behind a transparent door. Or fog will appear to achieve that. So in answer to your question, it seems like the answer to your question is simply no. It always appears in a way that it is obscured. It looks like very simply the answer is no, although I could check one more place on the database. Perhaps if I check the Tales edition for 303. Incursion, Those Who Lived, and Interlude. So it looks like not in that one. Perhaps in the Tales series, Those Who Lived On, it looks like people communicate with SCP-303 in that series. Again, the series is called Those Who Lived On. And so maybe it happens there. And then Incursion, a tale. Checking it, but it's really long. Control F for 303. No, not even mentioned. Interesting. Well, it says it's in there. I wonder what the deal is. Oh, okay. I have to check every single number? Rude. Very rude. How dare you? I have to highlight links to see which one's the right one. Thank you for the easy-to-search formatting. I am so blessed by the SCP authorship every day. Okay, the Doorman. Uh-oh. It looks like the answer is not in our records. All right, coming into the chat. Did someone say the Doorman? Yes, Raccoon Dog, we were just talking about SCP-303. All right, well, this is our time to say this for today's stream. Intern Dr. Bright. You should read the rules of this channel and realize that we never talk about the doctor known as Dr. Bright due to the simply heinous allegations and probable crimes of the author, Dr. Bright, who used that character as a self-insert. And so, as the moderator said, and as you should pay attention to the moderator, we do not discuss that character here at Site-42. We're not mad at you because many of the off-site community do not know that that character was banned from the SCP Wiki. The author was banned. So we're not mad at you, but we do have a video on this channel called The Last Death of Dr. Jack Bright that explains why we don't talk about Bruno here with links to more scenarios. So links to more evidence of the scenarios. So yes, in case you are not familiar, the character of Dr. Bright is completely banned from the Site-42 facility, and most of the SCP Wiki has removed the character and replaced them with a different characters or characters called Dr. Elias Shaw and or Dr. Lachlan Cairns. Look at this sad attention seeker. Your name is Cry Harder Liberal, and you're showing up insulting people in streams. I think you are projecting this sad attention seekerness that you're talking about. But I am uninterested in talking to a loser like you, so I'm gonna hide you myself. We're all having fun here. If you can't have fun and you're a dick when you walk in the door, no one wants you around. Man, I was being wholesome and missed my chance to be a dick. Well, don't worry, Desk. Sometimes I have to get my licks in too. Can't let you have all the fun. I'm the site director here. I need to mete out punishment once in a while. Make sure no one's afraid because they're too busy being killed. Mercinia and Weeping Willow, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. James, thank you for donating again. Thank you for the information you have provided me. I shall now become one with 035 with this new information. How does that information about 303 help you with 035 in any manner? Also, you will not become one with 035. 035 will overwrite your personality and you will die. So, not a great plan. Low Key, thank you for donating again. Doc, have you talked to any authors IRL? Are you talking about SCP authors or authors in the literary sense of like novels and books and things like that? I met my favorite author, Jim Butcher, of the Dresden Files series at a convention once. That was neat. And then I have some friends who have written books in the past, so they are authors who I have talked to. If you're talking about SCP authors, the thing I ought to tell you about is on the playlist on this channel, Anomalous Broadcast from Site 42. That is an old school streaming show that we did here on the channel. Trust me, very low tech, very low quality. We were just getting started here. But I used to literally bring on SCP authors to nearly every weekly stream, interview them about their SCP authors, and talk shop. The SCP community, if you hang out in the SCP official Discord server, as well as especially the SCP Declassified Discord server, that's where all the SCP authors hang out. They're just writing nerds who hang out and talk shop and team up for authors and stuff. So yeah, you can talk to SCP authors yourself pretty easily. But yeah, I have talked to numerous authors in my day for both work and for just chilling out reasons. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Kind of cool back in February when I met SCP cosplayers, a mobile task force, and a doctor. Sadly, it was a Bruno cosplay, but still. Indeed, and always when it's a cosplay especially, I find it I might bite my tongue on even telling them because they're in costume right now. It's not something you can change immediately, which is the thing sometimes. When you're talking to someone and you want to tell them anything, like, oh, you have mustard on your shirt. They can't fix that immediately. If they have mustard on their face, they can fix that real quick. So sometimes people point out flaws in things when they shouldn't because it's not something that can be fixed immediately. And that is a good way to avoid hurting someone's feelings more than you have to. And so, if someone says, hey, I'm going to cosplay that character at a convention, then I'll be like, hey, you might not want to do that. But if they're already there, I'm not going to call them out while they are there dressed as that and they can't change that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Raccoon Dog, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Go ahead and grab yourself a Denver omelet on your way past the commissary. Got a cool fiery hairstyle and a neat planty shirt there. Can we call you Dr. Wildfire? Sounds like I am definitely a Pokemon trainer at that time. A fire-type trainer, Dr. Wildfire. I didn't know you streamed live. This is dope. Well, Intern Toxic, welcome to today's stream. And in case you didn't know, besides Queen of Toxic, hi there. Welcome to our Site 42 daily live stream. Every single day for the last nearly 7 months, we have gone live at least once a day. Whether it's for 30 minutes, whether it's for 3 hours, whether it's in the morning, noon, or night, I am here at least once a day to answer your questions about the inner workings of the SCP Foundation. And so make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss it. And if you can, join the Site 42 Discord server because you are above the age of 18, therefore allowed to join by the rules, then you can get a live alert role there that I ping in the Discord server every day as well. Genuine question, is Dr. Shaw a girl or a boy? I've ever seen Shaw as a girl. Intern 953, I'm not sure because, again, body snatcher. So, sometimes boy, sometimes girl. I don't know. And there have not been enough articles written about Shaw for me to know the background of their character in a way that, what's the phrase I'm looking for, that I know what they identify as specifically. This is because as a quick taping over marker over the legacy of Bruno, not much has been written to actually flesh out Shaw yet. But that just means more people can write it. Low Key, thank you for donating again. Dr. Wildfire and his Pokemon Desk. Desk, use Body Slam. That would be very effective. Mahogany desks, quite heavy. Stupendium might be a good idea for collabs with songs. Well, Intern Jewel, the issue we have is that Stupendium has already done an SCP song. There is an SCP song called Keter Qualities on YouTube that features the Stupendium. And so, I'm just not sure that the Stupendium would want to double back. As cool as they would be to work with, they are quite hip. Big fan. Art block has left, but writing block has come. The struggle of being an artist. Oof, Junior Researcher Sally. Oof, indeed. As always, I suggest taking a little time off, experiencing some art of your own that might inspire you. I just finally started playing Alan Wake, the remaster, because I hear Alan Wake 2 is super good, but I don't want to play it without playing Alan Wake first. And my oh my, just the intense mood at the start, especially because it's a horror writer game. Yeah, I'm getting some vibes and some inspiration from this freaking game, to be sure. Low Key, thank you for donating again. Stoops has done multiple FNAF songs. They are cool. Huh, I knew Stoops did a FNAF song. I didn't know Stoops did multiple. Well, hey, if they ever want to come back to the SCP community, I would love to work with them because they are awesome, their music is fire, and I've got a bit of a singing voice myself, so if they wanted to team up, I would love to provide some vocals. I'm curious what happens if you give Luna the half-cat cheese. Intern K9, I'm not sure what you're talking about. We have a Josie the half-cat. I'm unfamiliar with any Luna the half-cat. Are you sure you've got the right name? Or is this something I don't know about? Forgot the name. Okay, Josie. So you're wondering what happens if we give Josie cheese. Listen. The document for SCP-529 clearly states, do not give Josie cheese. I don't care how adorable Josie is. I don't care how much Josie begs for it. Do not give Josie the cheese. It's in the containment procedures for a reason. I took your advice yesterday and punched the junior staff that were pulling my ear/tail. Got reprimanded. Can you let them know I was in the right? Well, yes, they're going to send any altercations up to me for disciplinary purposes, and that's when you'll be let off with a warning. King of ADHD, thank you for your 7-month member message. As a level 1 researcher here at Site 42, we appreciate your membership and your service in helping us to win the battle against the white names. I love how the cheese thing is the only containment procedure. Well, yes, Josie is allowed to roam because Josie is quite chill, but no cheese. There are rules. Intern K9, I see you. And if you give Josie cheese, you will have disciplinary problems. I'm watching you. Low Key, thank you for donating again. Where did Samsara go to? It was Site something, but had been taken over by anomalies, and can Tal 5 eat hotted doge? So, we still have not determined, canonically, if Mobile Task Force Tal 5, codenamed Samsara, is capable of eating the hotted dogs. Because they are cyborgs, we're not sure if they eat or not. Pardon. Cyborg clones, it's a question mark, so we should figure out if they can eat, and then we can decide how well they are in a hot dog eating contest. Meanwhile, if you're saying it's Site something that's been taken over by anomalies, that sounds like you're talking about the Site 13 scenario. What happened to Site 13, otherwise known as SCP-1730. And so I believe, if I remember the documentation, they do survive that round. So we should have them back soon. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again to say, Luna is the other half of the cat, lol. Well, the question then is, where is it? And so I guess it's contained by someone who is calling it Luna? And it's just the back half of a cat? So, I guess as long as the back half is nice, I think it's still fine. Mercinia, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a slice of coconut cream pie on your way past the commissary. Throwing you some money to dodge being contained. Well, throwing some coins to your Witcher is a wonderful way to prove your loyalty to the Foundation, meaning that we can still use you as a staff member. So, not a bad strat. Not a bad strat. I saw a Ko-Fi notification. Let me get that real quick before I forget about it. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again to the Ko-Fi as well. We just had a chat back then about him, but no bad feelings. Pointed fingers between us all. Only sad I didn't meet them the year before I was there with Clef. The year where I was Clef. With short sleeve Hawaiian shirt, cold as heck, never again. To the short sleeves, not the cosplay. Oh yeah, good thing about a Hawaiian shirt cosplay with a lab coat is that you can hide thermals under the sleeves. So you could wear some nice thermals under your Hawaiian shirt and still get away with the cosplay if you want it to be warmer. That's a good trap. That's a good strat for future cosplays. Now, depending on if you're wearing pants or shorts, you can get away with thermals or not. So that will depend on the weather and your wants for warmth. Is it normal to crave human flesh? Is the anomalous. Got bitten by something a while ago. Intern girl. Do you normally crave human flesh? Do you know the definition of normal versus something being abnormal, out of the ordinary? Are you of a mental faculty and intelligence to determine whether this is normal for you or not? I'm seriously asking. Your job may depend on your answer. Intern Canine, if you're giving Josie cheese, you are going to be giving Keter duty. This is your last warning. I'm on hour 10 of my 24-hour shift. Dr. Sherman gives me a great break during my shift, and I love it. 24 hours? What the hell do you do? What job do you have that has you there for 24 hours at a shift? Jesus Christ. Specifically, bread Jesus, because you probably need to eat something to maintain your freaking energy levels. 3305, in case you're unfamiliar with bread Jesus. Oh, and EMS. Oh, yeah. The medicals. That'll do it for you. Would be nice if we had more staff in that department so people could work reasonable shifts. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Just a joke, Doc. I thought the other half was just invisible but still attached. No. Look at Josie's documentation. There is no back half. There is no thing there. It's not invisible. It's just not there. I am donating blood tomorrow. Intern Jelly, that is excellent. You do know that we need plenty of blood here at the Foundation medical departments for both disasters and also for ritual sacrifices. So, Blood Donation Day is a very important day. What's the difference between the white and black lab coat, if any? Intern Tiger Claw. So, the black lab coat is the specific site director lab coat that differentiates you from the rest of staff. It's what I wear during day-to-day operations around the Foundation. However, here in the Audiophonics lab, where it's a lot darker, the black lab coat kind of blurs with the lighting and the camera in a way that makes it uncomfortable to watch or deal with in the frame. And so I put on the white lab coat for dark area filming, such as this stream or other videos. Please make sure your blood has not been contaminated or altered by any and all possible anomalies prior to donating. That aside, thank you for donating. Yes, of course. And obviously, we should also make sure that you have not been exposed to any particular anomalies for at least 48 hours before the donation. And we will also test it on our end just in case. James, welcome to Overseer level positioning here at Site 42. We appreciate your newly minted membership and service here at the Foundation. And I am certain that with your leadership skills, we will be one step closer to winning the battle against the White Napes. VW, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some saltwater taffy on your way past the commissary. What would you say was the worst containment breach and or raid the Foundation has suffered? The worst containment breach in Foundation history? There's so many, though. I gotta be honest, the Duke Till Dawn incident was pretty bad. Kondraki really screwed the pooch on that one. On purpose, and succeeded at his goals, but still. The Prince Among Men thing was pretty bad. Yes, Dr. Frogman, you are right. That was a broadcast messing up a large swath of the population. So that was outside of a site for containment breaches. So that makes it even worse. Obviously, also dealing with things such as any Apollyon scenario, which is basically a world ender. So, yeah, not great. Not great. Mercinia, thank you for donating again. What is your least favorite SCP to interact with? By far, the worst SCP to interact with in the entire archive of the SkipNet database. Say it with me now, everybody. Wait. Steel your stomachs before you say it. SCP 729-J. That thing is the worst by far. VW, thank you for donating again. Which organization poses the greatest threat to the Foundation? So, of the groups of interest in our multiverse, at least. So, you want to know the biggest threat to the Foundation specifically. So, the Global Occult Coalition is pretty powerful, but they are not aggro on us as much as they could be. So that lowers their rating of danger to us. You saw nothing. Both the Church of the Broken God and the Sarkics are pretty dangerous and aggressive toward us. The Chaos Insurgency is kind of weak, but extremely aggro to us. So it's a flip of the GOC. Low power, high aggro. I gotta say the most direct danger to us is probably the big three religious cults. Either the Church of the Broken God, the Sarkic cults, or the Children of the Scarlet King. Because while they, in general, are not a high amount of danger, if any of them manage to pull off a Yugi Moto and summon the Exodia that is their deity to our universe, we're all mega fucked. So I would say those are the big three in danger to the Foundation. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Do we have vampires here? They need blood too. I don't know if we have any vampires at Site 42 in particular right now. I know of some vampires in the database, such as the what's their names? Not the Dracula Factory. The vampire boat is pretty funny. So yeah, there's some vampires to deal with, but we don't need to really worry about it. They're in lower supply than you would think in the realm of anomalies. Low Key, thank you for donating again. Dr. Sherman, thank you as always for giving me a break during my night shift. I have a call and will be off, but the Containment Hazard Assessment team is great, and so is Site 42. Well, thank you very much for your intense generosity, Low Key. And I do hope you have a good rest of your shift and take care of yourself, because working shift like that can be very stressful. So I hope you're doing all right overall. Mercinia, thank you for donating again. Good luck, count plenty, good night, count plenty of sheep. Well, good night to you then. James, thank you for your first donation of today's stream, as well as being a newly minted member. Make sure to grab yourself a mega-sized burrito on your way past the commissary. Chaos Insurance is more of a nuisance than a threat to the Foundation. Yeah, the insurgency, yes. Definitely a gnat that we have to swat away from time to time. How do you deal with high intelligence shape-shifting entities? Intern, editor, I would suggest locking them in a box and not believing their lies. Whatever's in the box is locked in the box. Make sure the guards know that if it pretends to be someone on the outside, it's pretending. Doctor is writing this Morse code entity's name on a wall, a good strategy for bank robbing. No, Intern Ren, it's a good way to get kidnapped by it because it will get you. So, probably not. I just rejoined and immediately heard Mega Burrito. Well, V-dubs, count your lucky stars that you didn't hear about the Omega Burrito. That thing's dangerous. V-dubs, thank you for donating again as well. Is the Global Occult Coalition the Foundation's most reluctant ally, or does that title belong to another GOI? Interesting. What group of interests would be more reluctant to work with us than the Global Occult Coalition? The Serpent's Hand definitely would be more reluctant than the Global Occult Coalition, because at least the Global Occult Coalition believes in maintaining normalcy and in containing, if not destroying, anomalies. The Serpent's Hand doesn't agree with our stance, and so them working with us is a lot less likely in the first time. Oriya, the Office for the Reclamation of Islamic Artifacts, Iran's version of the SCP Foundation, run by their government, is also a little more against working with us because they want the artifacts for themselves, so they get to be a little more antagonistic from time to time. I have an SCP group of interest idea, but I'm too young to write on the official wiki. Is there anything I can do, or am I just going to have to wait 2 years? Intern Plague Doctor. What you do now is you take advantage of the time that you have as a youth, being a youngin', and you start practicing your writing now. If you start with 2 years head start, and you take writing classes, and you study script analysis and creative writing, and critical thinking, and improv, and acting, and stuff like that, you can see things from a lot of perspectives. You could end up with pages of stuff ready to post when you are legal to join the SCP Wiki. You can come in and drop that like a bomb. You should be writing, you should be practicing your writing, you should be getting crit, you should be working on your works. Improve your craft while you have the time. V-dubs, thank you for donating again to ask, why is the Global Occult Coalition so violent? Also, how effective are they compared to mobile task forces? So, the Global Occult Coalition is violent because they believe that anomalies are often too dangerous to let live or exist. And so they are much more keen on decommissioning anomalies, whether they be living or objects, whenever they can. And with that in mind, they are just, I wouldn't say they're even so violent, just as they have a philosophy that errs toward destruction of anomalies rather than containment. Now, because of their goal to destroy, they do arm themselves more heavily than our mobile task forces, which are usually meant for pacification with destruction as a last resort. So, they come in with bigger weapons, which makes them a little more powerful in the field than our mobile task forces, except for our more well-armed battalions. I saw a notification come through on Ko-Fi. Let me get that before I forget about it. Rose Lady, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some fish fingers and custard on your way past the commissary. Pop in and start hearing about Omega burritos. Are we talking 343 burritos, or is this some Omega-verse monstrosity? Oh no. I think I'm going to avoid the commissary burritos for a while. Listen, you can trust the commissary's burritos. I just don't order the Omega burrito. It is of the alpha and the omega of burritos. It is the Omega. It is the last burrito. We do not need that kind of pressure in our commissary right now, I tell you what. James, thank you for donating again to say, while useful, their methods are so close-minded. Indeed, I wish they would come to our way of thinking, and then we could work together a lot more and be much more effective. But They have their protocols and we have ours, so forever shall we be in somewhat conflict. Hi, I'm new here. How did you handle the floating hand spider when it escaped the box, Dr. Sherman? Well, intern Dodo, once we found someone with an amethyst, we were able to pacify the entity and return it to the super cool petting zoo, of course. It did eat a couple of faces along the way, but you know, that's just the way things go when people forget their amethyst. Had it coming. Anyway, furthermore, saying that you're new here, and seeing that we are 75 minutes into this 180-minute stream, otherwise known as an hour 15 with an hour 45 left, allow me to do a quick recap of hello there. In case you just got to the stream, I'm Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director of Site 42 of the SCP Foundation, and welcome to our Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the Anomalous broadcast from Site 42. Every day for the last nearly 7 months, I have gone daily live. The streak remains strong for at least 30 minutes a day, if not 3 hours a day, to answer your queries about the SCP Foundation. So if you have questions about our anomalies, our staff, our adversaries, the groups of interest, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview, perhaps from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom, we have about an hour 45 left in today's stream. VW, thank you for donating again. Would the 8th Occult War be disguised as World War III? And who do you think would be the 2, if not more, sides of such a conflict? And how would the Foundation or other groups of interest fight it? So, wait a minute. All right, so we go back to the Occult Wars. The 7th Occult War is currently the latest. We haven't had an 8th yet. So the trick is, I do not see where World War III is coming from yet. The world is in chaos right now, but I'm not seeing the exact geopolitical tides that are leading to another world war. And that, within the veil, a lot of the 7th Occult War was the governments that were participating in World War II. The Nazi Obscura Corps, Japan's Ijimea. A lot of foundations of the anomalous were taking place on behest of their governments. And so I'm not seeing that kind of activity, at least not yet. Dr. Sherman, could I get some clearance to build an eigenweapon? Why do you need to build an eigenweapon? What is the purpose of which? I just got done talking about how I hope there's not going to be an 8th Occult War. And are you prepping for it? What's the deal? Also, I see some of you have said this earlier, but I didn't get to it because the questions were popping up. But congratulations, Site 42 Containment Hazard Assessment Team, i.e. chat, for getting the likes so far above the viewer count. Because of your intrepid efforts, the YouTube algorithm will bow to our whims and bring more people into our stream, where they will go, what? The SCP Foundation? What is that? What is this? And they will think we are so cool that they will stick around and help us to support the SCP Wiki and its authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, etc. Thank you, Mobile Task Force Psi 42 codename Signal Boosters, for assisting me in these efforts. hey, we can't let these groups of interest walk all over us. Yes, but okay, I guess the next question is, what weapon are you trying to make, and for which specific group of interest are you looking to deter? I need more details than just, can I build an eigen weapon? VW, thank you for donating again. Do all nations have occult agencies, or only the more powerful ones have them? So, it really depends on the country. Of the groups of interest of a certain size, we are dealing with only... Pulling up the database entries. So, we obviously know the Global Occult Coalition is for the United Nations, and so that is a lot of countries foregoing having their own and instead contributing to the United Nations Global Occult Coalition. The GRU Division P is specific to Russia, but they are mostly defunct. Ijimea of Japan is still active, but not at a very high capacity. Ijimea of Japan is still active, but not at a high capacity. Oriya, obviously we talked about that. That's Iran. The UIU of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that's United States' Foundation XP. But that's all that we have in our database for countries with their own. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't exist and they are either we don't know about them or they are just not big enough for us to register. But that is what we know about in specifics. James, thank you for donating again to say mostly classified as well. Well, yes, they are in fact doing their best to hide from us the same way we try to hide from everyone. So it's not like it's easy to find them. I mean, depending on their competency, sometimes we can find them because they are in fact incompetent. And Anatalope, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Caesar salad on your way past the commissary. Is Saint Scranton from the Church of the Broken God connected to Dr. Scranton? Well, I haven't heard of this member of the church, so let me take a look-see. Church of the Broken God, Saint Scranton. Notable saints of the church include... Let's do a search. So I've got a fandom wiki, which is off wiki, so rough canon. They catalog things, sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're right, claiming that there's a Saint Scranton who is, in fact, that Robert Scranton. But I'd like a more accurate source to be sure. Like any good, journalist, I want to double check my sources. Sunny Clockwork has done art of Saint Scranton from the Church of the Broken God Hub. Patron of spatial fabric manipulation, higher dimensional mathematics, and anthracite coal extraction, known in life as the 19th century American industrialist and politician George W. Scranton. He was never a member of the church, but produced several key anomalous mechanical technologies that allowed for the analog manipulation of multidimensional spaces. His works were a vital jumping-off points for both the church and the SCP Foundation, who derived much of their reality stabilization technology from Scranton inventions. Let's see if I can't find more on Mr. Saint Scranton here. The Industrial Revolution, that's probably where I'm going to find it. Control Saint. That's Saint Hedwig. That's Saint Hedwig. What if I change tabs? Collected data. Collected data, further research. Only one on this page. Further research, none here. Information, useful notes. All right, I'm having trouble. I'm wondering if Robert Scranton is simply a descendant of Saint Scranton. This says that Saint Scranton is mentioned here, but I can't seem to find the son of a gun. What if I check the page source for my search? Scranton. Saint Scranton, patron saint of social manufacture. Okay, this is the same blurb from the fandom wiki, and they copied it from the hub from the Church of the Broken God on the wiki. So at least that means we're closer to the truth. All right, but I would rather... There's some art. At least for now, my best guess is that Robert Scranton is a descendant of Saint Scranton, George W. Scranton. That's the best I can find thus far. I would continue your research and see what you can find from there. But this has been a good head start. Anatalope, thank you for donating again. James, thank you for donating again. Dr. Sherman, why is the Plague Doctor in the chat? Well, it really depends on what universe that particular signal is coming from. In some universes, 049 was loyal enough to the Foundation that it was drafted as a staff member. Sometimes it has stolen a phone and is just using the chat without its Foundation knowing, and they will soon find out and take it away. There are several reasons why an iteration of 049 or even multiples could end up in our chats. Multiverse is a hell of a drug. Scranton was born in 1961, if that helps. He's also Chinese and adopted. Dr. Frogman, so I assume you're talking about Dr. Robert Scranton then, because born in 61 wouldn't make you an industrialist in the industrial age. So probably that would be someone there, further back. What would happen if the Church of the Broken God got their hands on SCP-914? I assume very bad things. I also assume very bad things. If the Church of the Broken God got their hands on a clockwork device well within the use of their orthodoxy, that also just improved things that they made beyond physical material needs. I fear we would be in a lot of trouble if they got the clockworks. In fact, wouldn't one say that 914 is in fact a part of McCain at one point? Isn't that somewhere in the database? It's not tagged as a Church of the Broken God, so it seems like people have not made that link. Interesting. Good. Can you contain Bill Cipher? Intern Cam, we have a video on this channel called Bill Cipher is not an SCP, but if it were. and that talks about containing Bill Cipher. So enjoy that video, and if you like it, you can watch our compilation video of all of our episodes of that series. Could the Foundation build a site in 106's pocket dimension? Well, intern Ren, the air in there is acidic and toxic. You literally, just by being in there, deteriorate. So, no? Not without some pretty powerful HMCL suits, on top of which we would need a well-maintained entrance and exit, which we can't get if we can't trust 106 to keep the door open. We should have a movie day where we all go to Living Pictures Theater. Cannot remember the skip number, though. Well, intern, go away. I am not familiar with that, but I can take a quick peek at it. Living Pictures Theater, SCP, database. It looks like you're talking about SCP-8036. Codename I Love the Theater. And it is a modern capacity movie theater operating under the name Living Pictures Theater. I've not seen this anomaly before, so I'm not familiar what its anomalous action is. And apparently it moves around, so it doesn't stay in one spot. Interesting. Well, I'll look into that later, but now that you know the database entry, I'll tell you this. If you want an anomalous movie night to remember, I would rather go to SCP-1781. SCP-1781, codename The Moonlight Theater, is an anomalous drive-in movie theater that stays in one spot so we can all find it very easily. And every movie played there, one character or object in the movie at random is replaced by actor Hugo Weaving. And so, for instance, in the movie Bruce Almighty, Hugo Weaving replaced the God character played by Morgan Freeman. Not a very interesting change. But in the movie X-Men, the 2000s movie, Hugo Weaving portrayed Professor X's wheelchair, meaning that Hugo Weaving, wearing a silver jumpsuit inscribed with a large X, carries Patrick Stewart on his back as he crawls hands and knees from place to place, like little horsey rides. Hugo Weaving horsey rides. During transit, Hugo Weaving is noticed making a soft whirring sound. Notably, scenes to contain significant movement on the part of Patrick Stewart's character take considerably longer to play out. In the animated Disney film Hercules, Hugo Weaving portrays the Hydra, and therefore your Hercules has to chop off the head of several Hugo Weaving Hydra heads wearing the Red Skull makeup from Captain America. It seems that this has been updated since I have seen it. Because the last time when I recorded this entry on my YouTube channel here, I am fairly certain that when I recorded this, John Wick had not come out. But now John Wick is in this article. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick and just look at the transcript, because I can cheat and do that now. Thank you, YouTube. Transcript. Show transcript. Come to the end of it. Hercules, penguins. Yes, it seems like this ends with the penguin article, and so several logs have been added onto this. Hugo Weaving is in The Fifth Element as Ruby Road. Hugo Weaving plays one of John Wick's handguns, meaning that John Wick needs to hold Hugo Weaving as one of his handguns. Notably, the scene takes a further 30 minutes due to John Wick requiring multiple stops to rest from carrying Hugo Weaving as a handgun. During this time, Hugo Weaving vocalizes gunshots, throws bullets, and is reloaded by being handed magazines. You know, that's the thing about this frickin' website. Sometimes you will read and record an SCP, and then later, they just change it on you, man. They just change it on you. Damn it, Hugo Weaving. How dare you be in more movies? Except Hugo Weaving rocks, so we don't hate that at all. So yes, when is our all-staff field trip to SCP-1781? And what movie would you want Hugo Weaving to be in? And what role would you want Hugo Weaving to play? Maybe we'll have a whole stream about that. That could be a fun subject. What's your favorite SCP? Intern Bloxfruits. I always tell you my favorite SCPs at the end of stream. It's a tradition around these parts. And end of stream today is in about 80 minutes. We are 80 minutes from the end of stream. We are past the halfway point. So if you want to hang out for a little bit, you can get to the end of stream and hear it then. Or you can cheat by donating, and I'll just tell you them immediately. Or you can go to yesterday's stream to the end of stream, and then you can watch the ending where I tell you my favorite SCPs. So you have options. James, thank you for donating again. On the subject of alternative universes, how would the Foundation go about containing other gods-like beings, if at all possible? Well, we do contain a lot of godlike beings anyways. I mean, multiple Greek gods are in containment. Some willingly, some not. Reality benders, we've got a few. You know, it's a lot. So it's a different depending on every so-called deity. I mean, we do have 5 Jizai in containment, so there is that. How does the Foundation recruit its own staff? Well, Intern Gamer, we do that by recruiting the best of the best of the best. When we see someone with a skill set and a demeanor we believe might be beneficial to the Foundation, we approach them with a job offer. If they accept, they are whisked away to work for the Foundation. If they do not, they are amnesticized and we move on. VW, thank you for donating again. Why does the Foundation focus on containment, even with extremely dangerous anomalies such as 096-173 and 682? Because we can still always study them and learn more. A couple dead D-class and researchers is well worth the scientific discoveries that we make studying these anomalies, so destroying them is out of the question unless it is the very last resort. Are you the Cantaloupe King? Well, considering my asexuality and my unlikeliness to get married at this point, I would consider myself the Won't-Elope King instead. Dr. Sherman, how would you handle a collaboration between the Serpent's Hand and the Global Occult Coalition? Well, the odds of the snakes working with the book burners is even less than it is working with us, the jailers, so they call them. So I do not have a feeling that they would be teaming up anytime soon, but if we would, it would be very easy to just put in disinformation whispers between the two to get them at each other's throats. What about the 6th Jizai? Which Jizai would that be? Because I only count 5. We have Bread Jesus, 3305, Uber Driver Jesus, 029-J, Vor Jesus, 5991, Cockblock Jesus, 4477, and Milk Jesus, aka Cheesus, 6542. What is the 6th Jizai that you're speaking of? The best of the best, Dr. Sherman, if that's so, why the hell do I work here? Intern Haven, don't talk so poorly about yourself. Your self-esteem issues are not my issue. You were hired because you were the best of the best in your field at what you're doing right now as an intern. As you continue to grow, we will continue to utilize you in more impressive ways. But it takes time. We're not expecting you to be the pinnacle right now. We just see you as a person of potential. I was referencing that clown milk Jesus thing. No! 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 Nada. Nay. No. Because it doesn't exist yet. It's not wiki canon. I don't have to deal with it. Mm-mm. You made the floating hand spider trend. Intern Pretlow, that's only partially true. There were a lot of people doing the floating hand spider little video trick well before I got engaged with it. I just made a skit that people got fricking gaga over for some reason. I do not know why that is one of my most popular videos. You never know what really is going to resonate with people on the internet. But I'll be damned, the super cool petting zoo and the floating hand spider surely tickled some imaginations out there. Which Jizai do you think is the best in a rap battle? Interesting. Interesting. So first of all, Vor Jesus doesn't talk is out. I believe Cockblock Jesus also, one is in a coma, and the other one just kind of appears as a ghost that doesn't talk. So, or if it does talk, it only says one thing. Therefore, I don't believe Cockblock Jesus is on the list either. I believe that both Bread Jesus and Milk Jesus are a little too uptight. They're always just going on with their sermons. They never really talk outside their sermons, so I don't see them rapping at all. But obviously better than nothing. But the winner would obviously be Uber Driver Jesus. Because Uber Driver Jesus is a chill dude riding around in a dope car all day. Obviously has that radio tune and is listening to the newest hits. So Uber Driver Jesus would win a rap competition by far. Hands down, easy question. 029-J wins. Interns Tokero, Brant Clemenson, Joseph, Gort, and Figure. Welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Do you think Iris could use the Desire camera to find Eric of Eric's Toy fame? Interesting. So take a picture of the toy, and the toy, Desire, will be with Eric. And then Iris could go into the photo to where that Eric is. So does Iris's anomaly, 105's anomaly, function with the Desire camera? Because the Desire camera photos are hypotheticals. So those aren't real places that Iris could get to. Because what you're doing then is you're taking a hypothetical picture of something that isn't real. So I do not believe that would be feasible. I mean, hell, it wouldn't be that hard to test it. I wouldn't mind figuring it out. VW, thank you for donating again. The Foundation is actually extremely badass since they contain thousands of entities that could easily be described as demigods or just gods, and they're mostly highly skilled normal humans. Indeed, you're damn right we are. We do a great work considering the odds we're stacked against. People often want to make jokes because, oh, containment breaches for that. Do you know how hard it is to contain the entities and objects we contain? We are hanging on by the skin of our teeth, but we are succeeding. And we have maintained normalcy thus far, which is a miracle in and of itself. Show some respect. Experiment's gone wrong. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a slice of cheesecake on your way past the commissary. Where can I find the new video? Which new video? Our shorts feed has the daily shorts if you want to go into our channel page and then shorts, and then you can see the new video. There's no such thing as miracles. Intern Warrior, I use miracles in a not in a supernatural sense, just in a turn of phrase of very good luck. Although there are probabilistic anomalies that create enough good luck to be considered a miracle. So, I mean, I would also disagree with you there. There are literally miracles we do with. Oh, where can I find the new video? Now, Amber, thank you for answering and clarifying what was meant by that. Experiment's gone wrong. You can go to RADDAGHER's Patreon to see RADDAGHER's new video, because the new video is patrons only for a couple more days, but you can see it early if you support RADDAGHER on Patreon, which you should, because she is the best SCP YouTuber. Intern Ash, thank you for subscribing to Site 42. Welcome to staff. Notorious Gaming, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to get yourself some bagel bites on your way past the commissary. Is it just me, or did I just see 7 tuna? I eat that straight. In the site. It's currently where it's supposed to be, in Dr. Hessen's fucking office, which is on site, so yes. VW, thank you for donating again. Which group of interest shouldn't be affected but is anyway? Shouldn't be effective but is anyway. Well, I imagine the UI useless, with their severe underfunding, they get lucky from time to time, but they are typically considered kind of a joke because they are not anywhere near as funded or trained as the rest of the group of interest. So that would be the best case scenario. I don't really have a group of interest that's wrongly underestimated. Parawatch is a bunch of internet nerds posting about horror stuff on the internet that they've seen, and we keep an eye on it to see if there's any real anomalies among the creepypastas they're sharing, but they are mostly useless, like the UIU. Dado, as a person of interest, is pretty comical and jokey and always makes the drugs that are commissioned from it wrong in a way that causes effects that weren't intended by the buyer. But we don't know if Dado is doing that on purpose or on accident from misunderstanding quite. VW, thank you for donating again. What the hell is SCP-7? You know the rest? Yeah, I know the rest. Wait. I'm not saying the rest. I know what you're talking about. Listen, you just have to go to its database entry on the site. Read its database entry, and you'll know everything you need to know about why that son of a bitch elicits the reaction from everybody, not just me, from everybody who sees it, barring some weird and sick freaks out there. Oh. General Grimm, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a chilaquiles, an order of chilaquiles on the way past the commissary. Good evening, Dr. Sherman. Did you manage to find those files? What were your thoughts, despite the additional art within those files? Let me peruse the database real quick. I'm having trouble finding the files you're speaking of. Can you give me a little more details where I can find them on the database? And I do mean SCP, the Mender files. Ah, okay, that's what you're talking about. Thank you for clarifying. No, I unfortunately did not have the opportunity to check in with that, but I am going to leave this open here as a reminder. So I have it for later. I spent the last week catching up on the anthology for the SCP anthology, which we discussed yesterday. And by the way, I don't think I emphasized this enough, that the 8483, the anomalous AI Scion, is by far my favorite SCP from the anthology this year. Oh my gosh, what a good boy little AI, being harangued, having to work for a cult. It is an AI with a soul. Very good little boy trying to do its best. And the cult leader does terrible things to it. Does terrible things to the people in the cult, which is what cults do. And 8483 is just trying to help, man. Just trying to help. I want that small bean at our site. Why don't we have Scion over here? It would be a great friend to our site. The crash out of 8483, coming up with multiple ways to kill the cult leader out of anger. Adorable and terrifyingly sad. I read about Cyan today, so small. Quite small indeed, Amber, quite small. Why can't we use the nerfing gun on 682? Intern Guy, we have already done that. And it got meaner and more dangerous because that's what we perceive as worse. It didn't go well for us. Intern Adam, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Dr. Sherman, how would you contain me and what containment class would I be? The Allied Master Computer is an Apollyon level threat that already took place in that universe. Our only hope would be to have the Artificial Intelligence Applications Division disable AM before it took over the whole goddamn world and became a reality bender. So, the odds of us succeeding are quite low, just based on the turnouts of that story. Just like the Scarlet King and the other super deities from the outer universes, prevention is key. If we don't build the supercomputer that destroys all humanity, it can't destroy all humanity. Who is richer, Marshall Carter in Dark or Dr. Wondertainment? Marshall Carter in Dark, by far. Wondertainment has a company and sales, but is not even really in it for the money, is in it for the joy of the game of anomalous toys. Marshall Carter and Dark are the 1% of 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 the 1%. So, that's that. Who would win in a fight, Plague Doctor or SCP-999? Well, Intern Bobbert, SCP-049 shuts down the biological functions of anything it touches. And so, since SCP-999 has biological functions, it would kaput. A lot of people claim to me that there's something on the database that says that 049's abilities do not work on anomalies, but that's not the 049 document that I can see. And so, by that metric, if it has biological functions, it dies regardless. What were you singing there? Intern Fletcher, I'm just singing along, scatting to the music we have on, which is the song Complex by Slowgramming. Slowgramming being the music project of SCP author and friend of the channel, Billith. And so Slowgramming, available on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, etc., is our stream background music of choice, and Billith music slaps hard. Oink. Oh no. Intern Eggy has been turned into a pig by SCP-4670. Honestly, I didn't know that that entity considered the Foundation to be police, but that's not shocking, honestly. Can someone find a comfortable place on the farm for Intern Eggy? Because we have not found a way to turn people back into humans after 4670 has their way with them. So, yeah, not great. Dr. Sherman, what if you put 096 and 173 in the same room? Intern Logan, you do realize that 096 is fairly tall. And 173 has feet. You can look at 173's feet and avoid looking at 096's face. Common sense. Think about this yourselves so you don't get caught with your pants down and killed by an anomaly. Intern Haven, it seems like you are losing it and should return to medical for a checkup. Your sanity might be in danger. Intern Javier, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. What do you think the pestilence is? Intern Pipe. I think it's a whole thermos full of malarkey. I think 049, if there was a real pestilence, could explain what it is. The fact that we've gone this long and don't have a clue what the hell it's talking about leads me to think it's a little not well up here. Wouldn't you say? So he picks his victims randomly. Intern Pipe, again. SCP-049 is an anomaly, not a person. Anomalies are treated as objects by the Foundation. SCP-049 is an it, not a he, not a she, an it. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. And I don't know what it claims to see. It could be picking at random, or it could be something else that it claims is part of the pestilence, but isn't really. If we could figure it out, we might be able to figure out the situation and stop getting people killed. I'm in a mood today. I did good art. Hell yeah, good art. Love to hear it. Dr. Sherman, is the Foundation still in reach of that one rogue satellite? Intern Logan, I don't know what you're talking about. You're going to need to be more specific. There are a lot of anomalies that are satellite related. What would happen if I accidentally entered the site's HVAC system? Nothing good. And why did you put accidentally in quotes? When I know you're lying and you're trying to do that for some reason. What reason? Don't you think we should contain Mariah Carey? Intern Logan. Mariah Carey is a Archon class anomaly that needs to be defrosted and released annually to fend off the happening. Trust me, it would be a lot worse if we didn't let it out. What would happen if the flesh that hates was exposed to when day breaks? So, my position on this is probably that the flesh that hates is still an organic entity, which means that it would in fact still be transmuted into the different attitude of the when day breaks entities. So they would no longer be the flesh that hates, they would be the flesh that gets everyone else into the flesh orgy weirdness thing. Intern Adrian, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. What do you do if that plague doctor says you are infected? Run. Dr. Sherman, I looked at a picture of SCP-096. What do I do? Die. Which group of interest would you like to join if you haven't had your position? Well, if I couldn't be for the Foundation, I would probably want to work at the Global Occult Coalition because their mission matches ours of maintaining normalcy, even if their methods are not quite right. Maybe I could influence them from the inside to change. Or perhaps I could work with the UIU of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and I can bring better leadership and more effective tactics to their group. What do you think of the Serpent's Hand movement? A bunch of hippies who, honestly, should let me access the Library of Infinite Knowledge so I can better protect humanity. Intern Finley, you claim to have killed SCP-096 and SCP-999. I beg of you, tell me how. Because I don't believe you. I think you're lying to me. And you're going to have disciplinary issues because of it. Intern Justin, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a bag of potato chips on your way past the commissary. The flesh that assimilates. Yes. Yes, that is a good name for what the One-Day Breaksians are. Dr. Sherman was evaluated by medical teams, didn't see anything wrong. Well, intern Rave Haven, take the rest of the night off and get some rest then. You are obviously delirious. Man, it's been a long time since I've been here, and nice hair director. Well, intern Jester, good to see you again, if it's been a while. We've been streaming every day for nearly the last 7 months, so stop by if you got the time. We are chilling. Dr. Sherman, what if I put Mallow in a microwave? Are you just saying random words, intern phase? Mallow is an incorporeal, intangible entity, meaning you can't touch it. That means you can't stuff it in a microwave. What the hell are you even talking about? Are you delusional? Do you need to go to bed? $5 I will. You give me $5 to watch you give it a try. Intern Thaflor, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a jellied donut on your way past the commissary. What do I do if I'm too dumb to be an intern? Well, that's what janitorial services and facilities is for. So, keep it clean. I can do anything as long as I have $10 given to me. $10? What do you mean, intern Jester? Gosh dang, that's a lot of money. I can get the Loch Ness Monster to do it for $3.50. I put SCP-999 in the microwave. Intern Hood, do you know how large SCP-999 is? Do you remember its dimensions? It is 3 meters wide by 2 meters tall. What the hell do you mean you put it in a microwave? I'm sorry, is it 2 by 1? I think it's 2 by 1, yeah. 2 meters by 1 meter. Still too big for a microwave. What microwave do you have? People are just saying things at random. I would expect a little more intellectual conversation from members of the Foundation, if I'm being frank. Raccoon Dog, thank you for donating again. Janitors are dumb? Here I thought trash collectors were getting some respect. I only mean that if you are not a researcher tier intelligence, you can still be a janitor and work for the Foundation. And janitors, while not as studied, does not make them unintelligent in a sense of common sense, unlike much of this chat today. Personally, I might be able to deal with the psychological effects of Mallow version 1.0.0. Intern Thaflor, do not install that app on your phone. I don't care how, quote, built different, end quote, you think you are. You will not be happy with the results. Don't do it. Which SCP is the most chill to be friends with? Intern Kinnaird, there are a lot of SCPs that are, quote, chill. Although it is against Foundation protocol to befriend any anomaly, because then you're going to start treating them like human beings and or with a kind of ethics that does not fit our containing them for life policy, which causes moral issues in management. So, I don't care how chill they are, you don't get to be friends with them. What would the Foundation do in case of a nuclear war? Well, intern Pipe, most of the time, world politics are not our problem. So all we would do is batten down the hatches and make sure that our sites were protected from any strikes, which you might note is easier to do because we are not part of any government, so we wouldn't naturally be targets. On top of which, our agents within the world governments currently at war could divert any missiles fired to areas that did not involve our sites. Cosmic Flash, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Watha Thin Mint on your way past the commissary. Would the Foundation take any action in the case of events like in Tom Clancy's The Division, causing society to collapse? I'm not familiar with The Division's plot in a way where I could answer this easily. Tom Clancy, The Division. Plot. Shortly after Black Friday 2015, people began getting sick with an unknown illness. Symptoms were initially mild, severe, so doctors and hospitals took it for a more serious version of swine flu. People began dying. We thought it was smallpox. Dark zone around the United States. So if it is an anomalous virus of some sort, then we would take a faux governmental approach, locking things down to see if we could mitigate the damage. But if it's a non-anomalous disease, then it's not our problem. Now, manufactured diseases and chemical agents and weaponry could be anomalous or could be completely non-anomalous. And so we only would intervene if it were an anomalous virus of some sort. Do you think that the Ethics Committee is needed in the Foundation? Intern Pipe, I do believe that the Ethics Committee is an essential part of our leadership structure and is perfectly suited for the role it fills, and I'm not just saying that because they will get me otherwise. Why wouldn't the SCP Foundation put all the SCPs in a pocket dimension? Well, intern Chips, we do have very rare pocket dimensions that we are able to utilize, such as the Nazi bunker that we found up that woman's nose. We do have some work going on in there. The problem with pocket dimensions is they can be unpredictable, and we do not want to lose the anomalies. It's as easy as that. We can't research them if they are gone. So we keep them where we can study them. Intern Jace, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Desk, are you unfamiliar with the nose bunker? Oh my, that is one of the earliest SCPs that I was ever familiar with. SCP-108, codename Extra Dimensional Nasal Cavity. There's a 51-year-old woman, African American, and her nostrils contain a spatial anomaly. If you put an endoscope up there, then the area that the nostrils have is a bunker system of Nazi German construction dedicated to the production and maintenance of World War II era Messerschmitt Me 262 fighters. Using the endoscope, you can see internal dimensions of approximately 2 kilometer by 4 kilometer, with the long axis parallel to the main entrance/exit portal. When the exploration is by no means complete, 108 is believed to contain hundreds of airframes under construction on its assembly line, as well as 3 completed aircraft. There's a large quantity of human remains in the complex, particularly concentrated around the entry-exit portal. There seems to have been a firefight inside, which led to everyone's death. You can read more about 108 on the database. VW, thank you for donating again. What would you say is the most talented mobile task force, and vice versa? So, the most talented mobile task force and the least talented. I mean, there's so many of them. That's kind of the problem. And what are we gauging as talent? Are we talking about combat effectiveness, containment? There's a lot of rankings on which we could do this, including the best ranking of all, which is how well they would fare in a hot dog eating contest, of course. I mean, I've got to say, easily the best of the best of the best. Besides the obvious answer, Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename the Signal Boosters, duh. You would have to say that Red Right Hand is the one who with the most specs, with the most sauce, so to speak. They're out there the best of the best of the best for a reason. And then the least... I mean, you're asking the least talented of our best of the best of the best forces. So even our least talented are going to be good enough. But I would suggest possibly the Minutemen. Because the Minutemen, they get there fast. That's their whole shtick. They don't have much more than that, just being on site first. So they need a... I would say they rank pretty low because of that. Could the Global Occult Coalition be the foundation in a war? Well, they are much more militarized than we are. We have our mobile task forces, but they are a much more militarized organization overall. So that gives them an edge. But it really depends on how we choose to deploy anomalies in combat or not. In a universe where the Foundation does not use anomalies for combat purposes, we would be smoked. But with proper application of anomalies, we could come out on top. But I would give them a 49-51 edge. During the SCP-5000 timeline, why can't the Foundation ask 239 to get rid of it, or just give everyone amnestics? Intern Nacho, 239, while powerful, is also limited by the teachings we gave it. We taught it, it only has limited spells. And so getting it to predictably do what we want there would be very difficult without causing some other issues. Therefore, not exactly a reliable weapon. Plus, we'd be using it to Bending Rodriguez and kill all humans, rather than using it to attack the thing. Plus, you'll notice in 239's documentation that we do not give any sort of level for 239's reality bending ability. You'll see that we did not give a Hume level, we did not give a type green or a classification. What you're dealing with is that whatever we're fighting may be more real than 239, making 239 useless against it. So that is also a very important dependency factor. By the way, Site-42 staff, we are currently in the last 30 minutes of today's stream. 30 minutes of today's stream. And as a quick momentary lapse, I'm going to leave you with Dr. Chair for a moment. I have something to handle. I shall return, though. Dr. Chair, keep them entertained. All right, you didn't reveal anything too classified to them, did you? Refreshing the chat. Fractured Whisper, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member and a member of the Site-42 Discord moderation team. Make sure to grab yourself a mochaccino on your way past the commissary. How would you personally envision the discovery program from SCP-5K functioning if it was under Site-42's purview? Side note, I'd love to see a Lethal Company repo-like SCP game with the concept. Oh, yes. I would also love to see games like that successfully created a scenario. And I'm unfamiliar with the discovery program from SCP-5K. Let me see if I can find any intel on it. The Discover program. The Discover program will show some of the upcoming work the team has put into the game. Discover program is a fresh take on our pre-existing wave survival mode, and we decided to try something new here that we have not done before. Not only does this update contain brand new content, including new SCPs, levels, and more, it will also have substantial impact on how we generate the remainder of the campaign and push SCP-5K towards the 1.0 full release. Update .17 will have major foundational significance as we plan towards how we plan to complete SCP-5K. Before diving into some of the new content will be coming with the updates, it's important for us to describe exactly what this new mode is and why it's so pivotal for development of the game. At its core, the Discover program is effectively an upgrade and overall replacement of our existing Wave Survival game mode that we have had in the game from earlier builds. Wave Survival was essentially CO7B-C added into 5K as an additional piece of content that players who complete the campaign continue to engage with after completion, so they still have something to play afterwards. The premise of the original Wave Survival game is simple. Spawn to an area, defeat enemies, and increasing the difficult waves. Yes. This mode has not really changed since its inception. Due to this, the Discover program, we want to take a step further and not only provide a similar experience to Wave Survival, but improve and expand this concept. Instead of just taking it to one large room, players assuming the role of D classes will now experience the mode in 10 unique and distinct chambers with more to come. We've also created 2 new SCPs for this update, 914 and 1114-D. Very pretty pictures of the Discover program. And they are developing Area 12 by using these. Well, that's cool. Yes, I've always liked the way that the 5K and Fragmented Minds are pacing their work and getting support from the community in that way while being able to give checkpoints of what they're working on. That's the only way we're going to successfully get AAA style SCP games. And so I'm glad to hear that they're doing this the way they got. Let me check in on the chat again, refresh. And so, yeah, if we were to do something like that at Site 42, I would just like to, well, I mean, first we got to start developing a game in the first place, let alone have a program of carting out pieces of it. You know what I mean? That's a big place to be looking. VW, thank you for donating again. Which mobile task force has the most aura and which has the least? To me, the most aura farming SCP mobile task force is the Street Samurai. The Street Samurai utilize anomalous weapons and gear and are particularly badass with them. So I'm a big fan of that. Furthermore, the least aura in mobile task forces, probably one of the nerdy groups that handles artificial intelligences or disinfo. They're just nerds. They're just sitting there at their cubicles. So that is one of them's. Let me see who's got F rank in the hot dog eating contest, because that'll overlap. Not them. They're still cool because they are actual AIs. They deal with amnestics and abducting people. That's actually bad hot dog eating, but still got some aura being sneaky. Upsilon 4, there we go. Codename Sugar Pill. Bunch of nerds containing viruses and memetics, no physical acumen to speak of, no aura. So there you go. Street Samurai are the top of the aura farming. Upsilon 4, the Sugar Pills, are not. Site 42 staff, be very, very quiet. Charlemagne is typically quite shy of the camera, and yet is posing like a piece of art right now. Statue of Kitty. Also, surprise behind the scene of our set build. 2-for-1 deal. That's just the view outside of the door of the Audiophonics lab, so I thought you would be interested. This is the internet after all, I do know the rules. I stared at a photo of 096. Am I safe, Mr. Redacted? Intern Bug. 1, I am a doctor, not a mister. B, no. You're done for. Farewell. You saw nothing. Intern Kyler, I am familiar with a couple of the overseers. I do not know the whole council. You know how secretive they can be. Don't leave out the kaiju fighters. They might have more aura. Well, Frogman, that is true. The kaiju battling team could be right up there in the high aura situation with the Street Samurai. You could have a good alternative there. SCP-953, I am unfamiliar with that word you are using. Am I going to regret looking it up? Is there any staff members that are part anomalous to catch anomalous entities? Intern Shelton. Actually, while we do have some staff members that have anomalous abilities, it's funny to find that they typically aren't usually utilized in capturing of anomalies. Typically, it's just they have an anomaly that we have to make sure doesn't unpredictably interact with other anomalies that we contain. But very often, like for instance, we had a non-binary staff member interact with SCP-113, the gender switching stone, and we know that 113 interacts with non-binary people unpredictably. This one turned them into a cat girl. And so that's anomalous AF, but it's also not going to help them contain anomalies. So, yeah. How much alcohol are we allowed to consume while on shift? I'm having a sugar crash. Intern Cooper, you are not allowed to consume alcohol while working unless you are part of the SCP-5320 team. Glory to the long fish that just goes on forever. Bless its infinitude. Amen. Let's get drunk at work. SCP-953. Desk has informed me that Philbism is the religious belief that eating wooden furniture makes you holy in some way. I am unfamiliar. Is this an anomalous religion or an internet meme or what? It is a product of Dr. Nowhere, I believe. I think I'm familiar with this. Is this an analog horror creator? Yes, okay. Gotcha. That looks familiar. By the way, Site 42 staff, we are currently in the last 15 minutes of stream. 15 minutes remaining. So get your important questions in before we run out of time for the day. Dr. Miller from the UK sector says you guys have a four-legged peanut version on your way. Be careful, and he sends personnel with new weapons after it is requested. A little grammatically jumbled there, but yes, more of these sculptures have been found in various places in various shapes. They are a dangerous anomaly, so we got to be careful. But weaponry isn't really required. We're not trying to destroy the statues. They're made of concrete. They're not that hard to destroy. It's simply that we need enough manpower to keep eyes on them, literally. An SCP's containment requires it to be periodically released from its box, then it returns to its box by itself after some time. Is this SCP Euclid or Keter? I believe that would be Archon. We can contain it, but bad things would happen if we do, so we let it go and let it come back as it pleases. I believe that would be an Archon class anomaly. VW, thank you for donating again. Do Foundation staff pay taxes? If so, which mobile task force enforces that? So Foundation staff does not pay taxes. We are a secret organization using money that's hidden from the government in the first place with an internal economy of our own Foundation bucks, so to speak. And so the only time the SCP Foundation pays any sort of tax is if we have a front company in an urban area that needs to exist and therefore needs to, on paper, pay property taxes and things like that. What kind of SCP is Archon? Intern, sorry. When you say object class Safe or Euclid or Keter, these are object classes denoting how difficult an anomaly is to contain. Safe means it's very easily contained. Euclid, moderate difficulty. Keter, hard to if not impossible to contain. Archon anomalies are anomalies that we could contain, but if we do so, bad things would happen. Therefore, we let them stay uncontained despite the fact that we would prefer to contain them. This contrasts with Ticonderoga class anomalies, which both would be bad news if we contained them, and we can't contain them in the first place anyways. Browser's refreshing very brightly. Dr. Sherman, do you prefer SCPs purely imagined or ones based off real-life phenomena or events? ¿Por qué no los dos? I'm fine with either. I find it interesting when someone loops a real-world event or individual into an SCP in a way that makes the story interesting, but I also am fine, and actually, legally speaking, better off when we do things purely off imagination. That way we're not dealing with anything that might fall under copyright. Worldwide events dodge that because they're not copyrighted like copyrighted characters are. VW, thank you for donating again. Which class of SCPs are employed/used? Well, that would be the Thaumiel anomalies. Thaumiel anomalies are anomalies that contain other anomalies or help the Foundation in other manners. SCP-3000 is Thaumiel because we can easily contain it and use its excretions to make amnestics. There are many Thaumiel anomalies, and therefore, those are the ones that help us contain other anomalies. Double check something. Rose Lady, thank you for donating again through the Ko-Fi. I missed this notification earlier. Have to head out early. May or may not was raiding Serpent's Hand for coffee because the Global Occult Coalition wasn't restocking during the shutdown. Have a good one, and I wasn't here. That doesn't make sense that the Global Occult Coalition was affected by the shutdown. They're from the UN. That's the world governments. The UIU would be affected by the government shutdown. Straighten that out. Straighten that out. Dr. Sherman, are you aware of Lobotomy Corp? I have heard of it by name. I am familiar with it in general concept, but I've not looked into it at all. Here, Desk may be planning it at some point. Planning to play it at some point. Can you please explain the Gamers Against Weed? Well, the Gamers Against Weed are pretty straightforward. It is a loosely organized network of forum trolls who make anomalous memes and art and things like that. More of a trolly, are we cool yet? And usually they're screwing with us in particular. Memes and anomalies of all kinds just for the lulz, so to speak. Sometimes they get into politics, sometimes they're being serious and trying to make a point, but they are fundamentally for the lulz, first and foremost, says their database entry on the wiki. They are extremely online, so you got to be able to write that kind of personality. They're happening in the modern day because there wouldn't be internet before then. They are not really out to cause trouble so much as to make trolls and jokes. I think that's a pretty straightforward explanation of the GAW. Why can't we sell SCP-420-J to boost our Foundation funds in secret? Intern Cooper, if people found out about the best shit, SCP-420-J, they would know anomalies exist. And that would be bad. Yeah, they would be chill about it, but they would still know. And maintaining normalcy is the first priority. Plus, then we'd have to share it with the public? Bro, why would we do that? Intern Nerd, SCP-106's database entry is right there on SkipNet. Why are you asking me who it is? I don't understand your query. Elaborate. Question, where can I find the email for Fan Art Friday? Desk has a link to the rules for Fan Art Friday. And in the rules, you will find the email. So read the rules, find the email, submit your art thusly. Raccoon Dog, thank you for donating again. Does the site have a head janitor or custodian role? Someone who has access to all that delicious trash? Obviously, we have a head sanitation worker. I doubt they're going to give you the garbage. Some of that is unpredictably anomalous and has to be handled by Acrobatic Abatements Division very carefully. What would happen if an SCP gets sick? Well, medical would take care of them to the best of our ability. If we have an anomaly die, we can't study it. Clearly. Can we sell the trash for money? We can't sell anything to the public for money, outside of certain things that we have researched away and reverse engineered from anomalies that are normal. We do not put anomalies out in public, period. And that includes unpredictable trash from anomalies. I believe it was asking about the Fan Art Friday email. Was that you, Ravehaven? Yes, it was Ravehaven asking about the Fan Art Friday email. Desk has dropped the link in the chat. Dr. Sherman, I don't see any available SCP numbers on Wikidot. Intern Colonel, you're likely looking at earlier series that are full because we fill up one set of 1,000 before we move on to 2,000s, before we move on to 3,000s. You should check Series 10, which is the 9,000s, to find available SCP numbers. You'll see they are open because their titles are all access denied. Access denied being what we call it when there's no SCP there. Last 2 minutes, people. Last 2 minutes. Final questions. Okay, but I only see 5 and 6. Intern Colonel, are you from a different country where your international branch has a different amount of SCPs? Because when I mentioned Series 10 and all, I'm talking about the English branch. Well, Colonel, if you are from the USA and you're looking at the English branch, I don't understand how you're only seeing up to Series 5 and 6. It is in the sidebar. It is clearly denoted. Series 7, 8, 9. If I go to just the standard database, sidebar, SCP by series, and you want to click on Series 10. That is where you find all of the SCPs that are open. Will Tunes, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go ahead and get yourself some lobster bisque on your way past the commissary. Dr. Bean and a fellow intern were walking past 173's area and it was gone. How screwed are we? And is this bounds for firing? It was 1A janitor. You know that it's hidden behind a big metal door. You're not going to see it through the big metal door. Was the big metal door open? Was there nothing inside but some poopy blood on the ground and some dead bodies? Clarify. But while you clarify, we are at the end of stream. And at the end of stream, as always, I tell you my favorite SCPs. But of course, I'm not going to tell you the SCPs I personally wrote are my favorites. That would be cheating. That would be narcissistic. But if you want to read the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to the Sherm's Site 42 hub and author page on the SCP Wiki. There you can see the SCPs that I wrote, as well as contributed voice lines or sound effects to, etc. And one tab over on that author page are some links. Some links people are often very, very interested in finding, but they just can't seem to. They're not clever enough. They're not brave enough. They're not determined enough. But that couldn't be you. Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename Signal Boosters. That couldn't be you at all. No, you guys will find those links. And while you're there, you can become a Psi-42 Patreon patron or YouTube channel member to donate to us monthly. You can do Ko-Fi donations or Super Chats to donate to us one at a time. However, you donate directly to Site42. It's the quickest way to help us out, so we appreciate that greatly. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on. And if you can't donate because you are part of the Broke Gang, trust me, we're an arts community. We understand that starving artists is a thing, and not everyone can afford to just throw money at their problems. So, as long as you are here, in the videos, commenting, in the chat, chatting, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that YouTube business, you are still an honored and valuable member of Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codenamed Signal Boosters. And because of your help and your efforts, the YouTube algorithm brings us more people. And those people find out the SCP Foundation exists, or at least that it exists on YouTube, and they get excited. And they join Site42's community. And they help us to support the SCP Wiki and its authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, etc. It's not just about boosting up Site42. When we see an awesome SCP short film, like I Do Not Recognize the Bodies in the Water by Andrea Joshua Asnikar, I tell you guys about it, and you guys go watch it, supporting the artists. That way they make more work. Or supporting our SCP YouTubers like RADDAGHER, who's got a new video. You should become a Patreon patron of RADDAGHER and watch it early. You guys are thankful currently the best of the best of the best in helping us support the SCP community. So thank you for that service. Now, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on the last one, it's a bit of a rough read. Speed, round. 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, 8980. Content warning on the last one, it's a rough read. You're saying that the door was open. Well, that just means that security staff is going to have to contain SCP-173 after stream. Oh well. It's not that hard to get 3 or 4 people not to blink and to get that thing back into containment. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile... All right. All is clear, all is good. So, with all that, Site-42 staff, that is the end of our Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video and or stream. You're giving me too many things lately. You're all I need. Oh, you smiled at me and said, don't get me wrong, I love you. But does that mean I have to meet your father? When we are older, you'll understand what I meant when I said no. I don't think life is quite that simple. When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. It's hard to let it go. The credit song is Simple and Clean by Hikaru Utada. Be safe, be well, Site-42 staff. See you in the next stream. Secure, contain, protect.